Me amiga Sam. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
It is
mi
such an
amiga.
honor to have you be part of the Wilde Talk series.
I always am happy to share my story, and thanks. I love what you're doing. Yeah, growing up in Canada,
What part of Canada?
on the Canadian prairies, the bald ass prairies, where winter is very
Brutal.
cold, brutal. That's the word, brutal. Minus 1,000. Where when I say this, sometimes people don't believe me. Flesh freezes in seconds, and that it's real. And many, many months of the year are like that, cold, cold, cold. And so, growing up on the prairies, I think this is part of the story. My dad was a bank manager, and so we moved around a lot. And even as I say that, I feel something in my heart because I never really settled.
Roots down.
Exactly. Because we were moving every 2 years. That's what they did in those days. And just when I would get into, feel like, oh, I found my place, we would be uprooted. And at certain ages, like 5, 6, no big deal. 12, 13.
When you're forming friendships.
Right? That was tough.
bond.
I think I always longed to really fit in, to really belong, and was always kind of reaching for that.
Yeah, understandable.
Right? Not something that I think of often. And so, being the banker's daughter, that was a thing too. Because we were expected to be a certain way, and we were pillars of the community, or expected to be, and expected to
Be an upstanding family.
upstanding citizens, right? And
Did that carry into the home as well?
oh, absolutely.
How so?
Of course. I think you and I talked earlier about the expectation of perfection.
Yes.
And that I carry that still. My mom would probably not agree with me about that. No, there's that expectation of everything must look. It was very much
Keeping up appearances?
100% keeping up appearances. And so what was going on in here was much less important than what's shown on the outside. Mom used to say, it doesn't matter what's going on in here as long as you look good. And I think she really believed, and probably still believes, that. And it's only quite recently, I think, that I realized that it's kind of the opposite of what's true. This is the priority, the inside. And when we have that connection, it's very natural that we radiate peace and contentment.
Your home life, where did you settle? Did the family stop moving?
We stopped moving after I graduated high school. And we moved to Saskatoon, which was the big city. I grew up in a town of 3,000 people, right? And so we moved to a city of 250,000, Saskatoon, which that was big, big, big cities.
So was that a happy time for you? I guess you're coming into, pivotal years of womanhood.
Right.
And was this a time when you were also looking at, going to college, moving into a job? What was expected around that?
So I remember it, I was having a lot of fun and thinking about going to school. And anyway, I had a job. I got
that job.
My first job, a delivery person for a dental lab. We made false teeth. So fun. And worked my way up and ended up being a dental tech in that company. And then followed my father's, my mother's, my grandfather's footsteps and went and worked for a bank. Did banking for a couple of years. Oh, that was not my jam.
Nope.
At all. That's when I decided to get into real estate. And that had its own challenges. And then I moved out of my parents' home. Met a guy. Yeah, to Mexico. That was the first time I came to PV.
Ah, fantastic.
So that was 1986. And I went on it was called Bust Loose to Mexico.
It was a
And-
bus that took you?
Well, we flew to
Okay.
Mazatlan
Oh.
and spent a week there. It was the first time ever, like a tropical kind of vacation, 1986. And I went with a friend, one of my coworkers from the bank. We flew to Mazatlan and then took a bus from Mazatlan to Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, and it was a fun bus?
Oh, it
Yeah,
was so
like a party
fun. It was the Bus Loose to Mexico kickoff party where I met the man that became my first husband.
Wow.
And it was a whole thing. So I was really, really, really wanting to get out of my parents' house. And so this guy, yeah. And so I came back from Mexico and we connected, and then we moved in together, not because, we're in love with each other, but because it just made sense for me to allow me to get my parents. Things were really going sideways, to be honest, and I knew that I needed to end the relationship, and I planned a trip to Europe with the same girl that I'd come to Mexico with. And we planned this 6-month vacation to Europe. However, this man proposed to me. I accepted his proposal, looking for someone to save me, I guess. And that's when the first red flags started, really red flags, because he said, well, you're not allowed to go, like you're having a different life now because you've agreed to marry me. So there will be no trip to Europe. And I went along with that. And
part of you needed saving.
that's a really good question. He had means. He owned a home. His, parents were successful, and it was like, I'll take care of you. But there was a big
Caveat.
price.
Yeah.
Exactly. Huge caveat. And so, so I canceled the trip.
You married?
We weren't married a year when my son was born, so I got pregnant right away. This is the honest truth, and I have shared this with you. Michael was months old when I called the lawyer for the first time and said, how do I get out of this? Because now I've got a child, and it was a really, really unhealthy environment. Michael was not even a year then, and it took me 10 years to to have and another child later, right? 2 years later.
Where were your family during this time? Like, did they know what was going on?
Family saw things, but they were,
Never spoken?
ever spoken about. After the fact, yes. After the fact, after I made the decision to leave, and it was spoken about. But during the time, it was just, kind of accepted.
Right.
In those days, I mean, my daughter especially, that's going back 30 years now. Divorce wasn't like all of her friends, my kids' friends were all together, and they were all, and, my kids came from a broken home, and that was hard. That was hard for them. The breaking point was a very, very dear friend who, interestingly enough, we've been friends since grade 9, so we're talking a lot of years. She's arrived. She came to visit me. She always, woman, my dear artist, and she always saw really going on. And I was keeping up appearances, but she saw, and she came to visit me. And she said, I'm really worried about you. Pardon me. We're 3 and 5, I'll say, at the time. And she said, honey, I'm really worried about you. And I said, no, I got to stick it out. I got to hang in there until the kids are out of the house, thinking I'm doing my kids
a favor.
And she said, you're not going to live that long, Sam, because you're right. And it really...
You're not going to live that long.
You're not going to live that long.
Whoa. And that hit you.
And that really hit me, because she said, you're either going to end your life, or you're going to create a disease that's going to take you out. And it hit. It really hit me. And she recommended a book, and honestly, it was life-changing. It's called Men Who Hate Women and the Women Who Love Them. And my ex-husband is a woman hater, and it was such a toxic, dysfunctional, abusive. I mean, I don't need to go into all the things, but she was absolutely right. And so I read the book. I think I got the book the next day and read it cover to cover and went, "Oh my God, this is like," it really resonated. And I went, "This is me. This is my life. This is," and she's absolutely right. And so it was soon after that I tried to do, which I think maybe many women do. I tried to have the conversation where, this just isn't, it's not working out. Let's do, you go your way, I'll go mine, we'll co-parent. And there were threats like death threats, or you'll never see your kids again, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I really was scared, was really scared. And finally I went, I can't. It's just, that was the moment I went, this is not living, and I'm not doing this.
And what support did you have when you made that decision?
I had my parents.
Okay.
I had my parents in a huge way. I mean, there were restraining orders, and it involved my dad, because I was living in typical abusive partner took me away from my family, like 6 hours away. We're moving here, and quit my job, quit my real estate career, and he was working by that time, and yeah, took me away because isolating, right, which is such a common thing, right?
Yes.
And
It's not
he was
controlling behavior.
yeah, controlling, narcissism. They go together,
They do.
right? So but definitely had a breakdown. And my kids were old enough to say, "Mom, you're just crying all the time, all day, every day." I wasn't functioning.
No.
I really wasn't. And my dad said, "I'm coming out." So he came, and there was a restraining order. There was all kinds of things, thousands of dollars in legal fees and blah, blah, blah. And I finally got out of that. Ended that. Yeah.
Further problems after
Of
that
course.
ended?
Of
Okay.
course,
Okay.
because, right, so parents actually said, "Tell him he can have everything," because we had a house and a car and investments, and they said, "We will support you. Tell him he can have everything as long as you can leave," because it was a province thing. I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave without his consent.
Right.
And so money was everything. And so I said, "You can have everything. I just want permission to go back to Saskatchewan." And he said, "Okay." So he signed off on that.
Wow.
And because I knew it wasn't about the kids, right? It was never about the kids for him. And within, I'm going to say it was a couple of weeks later, he sold the house, sold the car, moved, followed me, basically.
Wow.
And bought a house 2 blocks away because he needed, yeah, it was creepy. It was creepy. So, yeah, that did not, it didn't end there. It didn't end by me leaving my home and my community, because I'd created a new community at that point. I had great friends and had found a part-time job, and yeah. So,
at what point did you on in terms of another relationship? Because you mentioned that was your first marriage.
it's so clear to see now, finally the divorce and everything went through, and I've been single my whole life. I mean, I was boy crazy since the age of 6, I think, and honestly, and also always had a crush or a boy or a husband or a boyfriend. And so it wasn't that long after the divorce that I set my sights on, well, I got to have somebody in my life. And friends set me up on a blind date, which wasn't really a blind date because we'd gone to high school in the same small town. And so, God, I think we met in January, married in July.
Wow.
Very fast. And I was so happy to have he was a wonderful man and a great stepfather for my kids, or so I thought. And yeah, that lasted, I think, about 8 or 9 years. He, as it turns out, was being alcoholic. And because I haven't thought about this for so long, and I well remember the day we had the same birthday.
Oh.
The same birthday, and I had planned this big party. I always did for him. And he went kayak for his birthday that year, and he went out kayaking, arranged a surprise party. My kids came to see him at I'd arranged this big party, and he walked in the door so drunk he could barely stand up, and he had driven because he'd been out kayaking on the river, and he walked in the door. My daughter went running to him. She was so excited to wish him happy birthday, and a special gift for him, and he's like, "Can I get in the effing door?"
Oh.
And it honestly was that moment I went, I am not.
You're done.
Yeah, and I was done. That's when I was done. And of course, it's happened like you're done.
No, that's right. But it's you're looking at
that
the
was
end.
the moment.
That's the moment.
I went, this is so over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right after that. So I had the financial means to do some traveling, and I'd been doing yoga teacher trainings and retreats, like going to different parts of the world. And when the second marriage ended, I decided I was completely burnt out in my job. Real estate was a 24/7 commitment,
sure. Mm-hmm.
right? I had years ago now, so my kids were finished school, and marriage ended, and my business partner at the time, he said, Sam, it seems to me that you're trying to sell houses in between yoga classes. And you're not going to hit me. When he said that, I went, oh, you're right. So I decided to take a sabbatical. I called it a sabbatical, and I came here because there was a really amazing yoga school here. And I came here to do a retreat and some yoga training. And I'd been here a few times, and I was here, and the school, Davana Yoga at the time, had a great reputation. And
here in PV?
Here in PV. Here. Yeah, that was in really a week or two into being here, where I just knew that this was where I was meant to be.
That's
something
what this place does, right?
It does. It just
grabs hold.
grabs you.
Yeah.
It really, or chews you up and spits you out. It can go, and
either
it's
way.
Done both.
Yes.
Right.
So you decided to stay.
Yeah.
And you still had it in your mind you were here for a temporary time.
Yes. And knew that I was coming back here, and I'd kind of I didn't have a plan. And maybe I've never really had a plan. Maybe I've never had a plan. Just every day I know that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Somehow it's just worked out that I could stay here, and this is home. It was sometime into, probably a couple years into being here, where I declared it out loud. This is home.
Yeah.
I'm home.
And how did the family react? How was that in terms of your transition from living in Canada, having your life there, a business, to now becoming, would we say, a yogi?
Yeah. Yeah, I could say. I mean, a totally different, it's like opposite ends.
Totally.
Right.
And you've gone from, a very cold climate to extremely hot climate. So
brutally cold, and a regular paycheck and success.
Yes.
Whatever that means, to
a huge identity shift. Huge.
Completely. And it's been a process. And so I think most people thought I'd lost my marbles, because I'd worked all these years to create this really amazing business, and I'd built a team, and I was making so much money, and I I gave that all up because I realized that, the money didn't. Well, the money. Don't get me wrong. Money's
Yes.
great, and
It's a vehicle.
it's a
Yes.
vehicle, and
Yep.
people ask me all the time, "What do you miss?" And I say, "Well, of course, I miss having that kind of income, and I don't miss the stress, and I don't miss the um, working 24/7, and yeah, I don't miss that." Yeah.
What was it for you here in Puerto Vallarta
Mm.
that changed everything and made you realize
I know
you wanted
exactly.
to stay?
Yeah, I know exactly. A very good friend of mine. We kind of switched places. It was like trading places because he's from Acapulco and he moved. We're not in touch anymore, but he moved to Canada. We became friends. And then I moved here and he came to visit me the first week or so that I was here. And he's a gay man. And in Canada, he couldn't be like he's very flamboyant, but he was working in the northern communities as a psychotherapist,
Very
and he had
conservative.
right, and he had to put on this, and so, oh God, I still see him all these years later walking on this beach right here, right on Los Muertos, and he had purchased a different speedo and a different serape for every day that he was going to be here, and he said, "Honey, I'm so happy here because I can be exactly who I am." And it really hit me that I think that's what happened for me. The witnessing that freedom. There's so much freedom here to be. I can be whoever I want to be. There's not judgment. There's not.
And what do you think that is here?
Oh well, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's the energetic. Of course, we've talked about the ley lines. I think which are right here. I think it's that. I think there's this openness here. It's of course a very gay friendly community.
There's a lot of diversity here.
a
really.
diversity.
But
That's it.
you're right. There's
The acceptance.
acceptance. Yes.
Right. You can be and I mean I'm not trying to paint it like it's all butterflies and rainbows and perfect. And for sure, there's stuff and there's some judgment and there's some things. But mostly, we're really free to be who we are and supported in being the best version of ourselves, I think.
Absolutely. So, what do you think had to change in the Sam from Canada to the Sam here in Puerto Vallarta? Well, is there rapid fire change or was it a gradual change? Because going from one place where you are this certain identity under these social constructs, what's expected of you to come into a place like Puerto Vallarta where you can try
question, and I think it was both. I think it was rapid fire sometimes and footloose and fancy free, and then hey, reel it in. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the first year for sure I was so lost. I was so lost. I didn't think that at the time.
Sure.
It's been like this, though I feel like now I'm much more grounded, I'm much more present, I'm much more comfortable. We were talking about this. I'm much more comfortable in my skin and knowing this is home, and yeah, that we all get to give ourselves permission to be. I mean, I personally love being with people, sharing space with people who are comfortable in their skin, who are unapologetically themselves. And so I wear the mask less and less, I think. Here.
Yeah. I mean, it's a process, right? It's not something that you can just.
No.
Right.
Like I wish.
Yeah, well, we wish.
Right?
We
I
wish.
would just go doink or.
It's,
right.
As we said before, it's peeling back the layers.
The layers.
And they continue. So,
Yes.
do you feel like you've discovered your purpose here? Do you feel like you're doing here and how things have evolved in your world?
Yeah. Yes, I am very clear about who I am and why I'm here, and And not to say that's never going to change. I mean, I know who I am today, and I know why I'm here, and you know, I didn't ever expect to become a yoga teacher, run retreats and immersions, and founded a community beach, community,
What's
which
that called?
that's called Angel Yoga PV. And when we were, and this was another we're always pivoting, of course, right?
Of course,
This is
yes.
life. And so I'm not saying that this won't change. Where I am right now, though, when the pandemic happened in 2020 and we got shut down on the beach, unable to practice yoga outside, and realizing that the number of people we've always had, and you know this, people looking through garbage for food.
It happens everywhere. It's not just limited to here, right?
It's not. It's just that here I'm so aware because there are no social programs here.
True.
Right? Unlike Canada, right, where there's
Right.
places that people can go. And so what happened was the amount of people eating out of the garbage cans grew exponentially overnight, because here we're very much day by day. It's part of the Mexican culture, the beauty of, if you sell something on the beach, you can feed your family today.
Yes.
Right? And when things got shut down, it was like shut down. And so I said to my partner at the time, well, yoga needs to change. It needs to be about providing meals for people. And so he was connected, bless him, and he was connected with somebody in City Hall, and we went and got permission. And so Angel Yoga became Angel's Kitchen, which is, my another passion project, obviously. And so now, of course, we're back to practicing yoga on the beach, I guess, the last, what are we? It's 2026, so.
Yeah. Goodness.
How did that happen?
I know.
How did
Time
that
has flown.
happen? Right.
What does the kitchen do? What?
The kitchen recognizes that many in our community don't have access to food. They don't have access to connection. And so we aim to provide connection through serving food. And so we've created a beautiful community once a week that we come together, supported by volunteers like yourself that are very involved in the kitchen. And we create a beautiful vibration for everyone to come and feel elevated, to feel uplifted. And so what was daily meals for a full year in 2020 is now weekly meals, and we serve about, it depends, 100 to 120 people every week, something like that. And it's not about the food. I always say it's about the food. It's not about the food. And because you've been there so many times,
Yes.
That it's about
Community
and connection. And it's so incredibly beautiful and dignified. And it's not we serve our guests. I mean, I said yesterday, because we had our weekly picnic in the park, I call it yesterday, and it's like, if our guests had access to TripAdvisor and so on, we would have 5-star reviews all the time.
Yes, the food is so lovingly prepared and so abundant.
It's abundant. It's prepared with so much love, and of course our guests feel that, and so that's nourishing in ways that, it's so
Mind,
beautiful.
body, and soul nourishment.
Mind, body, and soul.
And the plates are so lovingly.
Oh my gosh, Tim and Sean, of
prepared.
course, they because they're former restaurant owners.
Yes.
And it's, oh my
So
gosh, they're
beautiful
meticulous and the present. And I always say how we serve is as important as what we're serving. So yes, we're serving beautiful food, and how we serve, how we meet those that come to us is as important, looking people in the eyes.
Yes. And
And
you go around and hug
Oh,
every single person.
as much
Sam.
as I can.
It's
That's
a
my favorite.
beautiful,
That's my favorite.
beautiful thing. Yeah.
That's really my favorite. And when, when they say thank you so much, and I say, oh my gosh, thanks to them. I'm so glad you're here, because I wouldn't be here if, it's not a handout.
No, no.
It's not a handout. It's like
It's a contribution. It's like we live here. We feel very privileged, right?
Exactly.
To live in this wonderful country amongst beautiful people.
Right. And to be able to, this is my community service. I mean, this country has embraced me. And have there been days? Yes. Have there been days? Has there ever been a day when, and you and I, and
Have
you
many
know very well,
discussions
have had
around
these
this.
discussions,
Yes.
and and I know that this is, without a question. And a really good friend of mine always says, because it's my anniversary coming up, 12 years, I can't believe it. And he says, it's the anniversary of the best decision you ever made.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
I say, yeah, I mean, other than my 2 children, those were the
course,
best
of
decisions
course.
ever. But the decision to move here,
Yeah.
really, and
You'd say this has been sort of your becoming era where
Yes.
you've really stepped into, let's say, your authentic self,
Yes.
moving more and more towards who you really are.
Yes, I think the full version, authenticity is a word that I'm always, checking in with myself, and I, that's the best version of me, and I'm not always that version. I am, I think, really honest with myself, though, about when I think I have pretty good self-awareness most of the time, and I know when I'm kind of not there, and I think I'm probably going to spend the rest of my life peeling those layers. Is like you said, the layers. And my sister and I, Brenna and I, talk about the onion. It's like, how big is the onion? And I say, well, it's on effing steroids, man. That onion is big.
It's
never ending, and it's okay. It's okay, because that means, we still have a purpose and a reason to be here and keep peeling back the onion.
You think that's what this life's about?
Yes. Coming home to ourselves, I think, is what we're all meant to do, and that means, we can put that in many different ways. Coming home to ourselves, really settling into the heart space and really knowing, and you and I talk about this too. I always talk about, knowing things in my head versus knowing them in my heart. And this is where the real knowing, it's like
knowing the difference, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this place is certainly very special, and women who are watching this right now, what could you offer them in terms of what you knew back then and what you're applying now? What would you say?
Again, the word authenticity, and I think the what you think of me is none of my business, really, would be a part of it. And trusting that, like cultivating a relationship with yourself, that you can always trust your own guidance and your own knowing, and not worrying about what this is telling you, really finding that inner wisdom.
Yeah.
Right? And knowing, really, that's the real knowing. That's a really important piece, the kindness piece, the loving kindness part, and being gentle. One of my teachers said to me years ago, Sam, we're all such, well, she said it like this, we're all such assholes to ourselves. And right?
The monkey mind.
The monkey mind.
The chatter in the mind that just...
Right? The inner critic that, always has something to say. And so being aware of that through presence and mindfulness and all of those things can bring us really, really home. And then we know. We just like really know this is the path. This is what I'm meant to be doing.
And for a woman that might be deciding to move to Mexico or move to another country, somewhere abroad, what advice would you have for them? Or thoughts would you have for them?
Do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. And because I really do think of everything when I can remember, right? There's fear, there's love, and you will which some fear if you're considering making a big shift and giving up. I mean, there certainly was for me,
shift, right?
big shift. And there's when you really know, there's no second guessing, there's no doubting. You just do it. And that doesn't mean that there aren't things that you need to do. Like there's processes that you have to go through, there's steps that you need to take logistically, financially and otherwise. Trust, that's the word that
Trust, yes.
really comes to mind.
Trust yourself and trust your path.
Trust yourself and trust your path. Yeah, trust. That's my word for 2026.
Great word.
Yeah, and really practicing that.
Practicing that on the daily.
On the daily. We get knocked off. I mean, I certainly get knocked off
We all do.
Right?
And that's normal.
It is
normal to
totally
not be the best version of yourself every day.
Right.
Like it's...
And I think that's part of the practice too, is the awareness that it's normal to slip, to fall, and then having the awareness is the practice to come back to this is part of
recalibrate.
life. Yeah, and we've used that word. I'm loving that word. I'm going through a recalibration. I'm recalibrating again.
I mean, what have we got all these little emotions for if we can't move through them?
Yeah, exactly.
We just don't be happy and just be sad.
No,
we have
all the things.
The spectrum of emotions.
Exactly. And the honoring of all of them. And there are superpowers. Those are superpowers. I think emotions are part of our superpowers, and so being,
and not to switch them off, but to be with them.
Be with them. And I do this a lot. I recognize I'm feeling. I recognize that I'm feeling really peaceful right now. I'm, or not.
Yes.
Just honoring all of it.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Acceptance.
Yeah. Acceptance and trust.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you,
my dear amiga Sam.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you. What an honor
to have you here. If you want to invite people to Angel's Kitchen, when is Angel's Kitchen? At what time? And how does that work?
Right. Angel's Kitchen is every Wednesday from 11 to about 12.
Yes.
And you can find, there's a website in the works, a landing page happening for now. You can find information through me personally or through Angel's Kitchen
And
PV.
you personally would be the Facebook page?
Facebook page is
I can
probably
put a
the
link.
best.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
absolutely.
Terrific.
Angel Yoga
Angel's
PV.
Yoga, PV.
Exactly, right in front of the road, the Hotel Rosita.
That's right, Hotel Rosita.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well,
So thanks for the plugs.
Of course.
Everyone,
Well, thank
welcome to all the things.
Yes, and definitely everybody must get down there because the Angel's Kitchen, where I love to participate, is very special.
Very special.
So thank you, Sam.
Thank
you for
you.
your wonderful contributions.
My
and your
pleasure.
Dear friendship.
Thank you. Love you too.